Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is May the 17th, 2026. Hopefully this episode finds you well, in good spirits and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Happy Sunday, happy fun day to you. Hopefully this day has treated you well. Hopefully this weekend has treated you well. I know we haven't talked all weekend, as is now becoming the norm. I'd say that's pretty much the format for the episode, or the episodes, the podcast. Hopefully it's working. Hopefully, you're digging that. I know, I miss you. We get a few days away from each other, but hey, absence makes the heart grow fonder or something like that. So there you go. Hopefully you're keeping up with all the news, all the Joneses while I'm out. And, I'm doing my best to keep up, play catch up, do our yap, round up, as you will. But no, I've had a really good weekend. So let's go ahead and start from the top. And we're going to run it on down. Starting off with Friday. It was, I want to say interesting, but it really wasn't interesting until I got off of work. Because work has just been, work was not the move this week. This has not been a fun week. The customer appreciation, blah, blah, yada, 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 was just a lingering menace. Then it happened, and it's like, okay, whatever. But I really just think the motif of being like, oh, there's no work. Like, there's no action, there's no motion. It's kind of upsetting. Like, it's not a good vibe. Like, because idle hands are the devil's, workshop, whatever. It's just not been a fun vibe at work. And Friday did not really deviate from that. So, I wouldn't say it was a bad day per se. Like, there was just no work, so everything that needed to get done got done. The buggies eliminated. We killed it. All the trash done. Gonzo. There was not even any putbacks to do. I essentially had already scheduled to get out at 3:30. I wind up leaving before 2:00. That's bad. That's bad for me. That's bad for my paycheck. Like, that's not a good look. And I know that. I know I'm going to see the paycheck next week going like, what the fuck? That was a big L, Isaiah. But I'm telling you, I wandered the warehouse multiple times. It was giving Walls of Jericho how much I'm moving through this motherfucker. There was no need for it. There's no need for me. And so many others, we were just kind of there. It just felt like we were all just there. And like, once again, that's a bad vibe to me. I don't like that. It's not giving thriving business. It's not giving, why the fuck did we just like feed a bunch of people beer and 50 West or whatever? I did find out what the little bit of the menu was. And I heard there was cheesecake too. Cheesecake something. Whatever. Fuck it. And we got popcorn this week. Look at me complaining. But like, what the fuck? The vibes were very shitty. And I was just like, get me the fuck out of here. I was gnawing at the bars. So I get out way too early. We hit the gym. And gym was a light thing. I really like making my Thursdays and Fridays lighter lately. I just don't really see a point of going into the weekend and feeling like a limp noodle, being like way too like sore or like way too like overly activated in spots. Like, I'm trying to hang out with my girlfriend and have a good time. Like, I don't really want to do that. So I actually like switched to some targeted stuff, which is going to be a little bit of a motif for this weekend. I know I'm saying motif a lot. Sorry. A little bit of a theme though. So I said, hey, for my lower, I'm going to do some leg curls, leg extensions. And I got that in. I think I also, from memory serves, I think I hit the leg press as well. The thing I've kind of realized though is that, like, and don't get me wrong, I'm still a partial Pete when it comes to a lot of like leg movements. I won't fucking lie to you, but like, because it's been such an integrated thing, and I will say that like my body feels like very leg focused, if that makes sense. Like, I can generally just do a lot of leg movements and it's not a big deal for me in my body, sans the ankles, right? The ankles and feet can sometimes be a problem, as I've talked about on the pod. But like, I can generally, now that I'm like pushing myself like, like closer to failure, I find myself pushing like sets to like 30 something, and it's like, dude, what's the fucking point of this shit? So I just go, okay, let's do like 20 some and like we'll call it a day. And I know I could go heavier in terms of like weight in some of these machines, especially leg curl, leg extension. But I'm just like, I just don't. There's not a point for me to do that. I hit legs every fucking day. Once again, it's a part of my fucking thing. So like, I feel okay with that. I don't, as long as I feel it a little bit sometimes throughout a week, I'm happy. I'm satisfied. So that's what I did. I think I also did on the upper some incline press, which I try to at least get at least one kind of either incline or flat bench press kind of action in. That usually feels good. And then I can't remember what else I might have done. I think I might have done like a little bit like the lat machine or something like that. If memory serves, I'm a bit fuzzy there. But gym was fine. Gym was good. I know I'm just kind of lingering there, but kind of talking about a little bit of the changes. I haven't really done a little bit of a deep dive there on the gym because it's kind of been a little bit of boring, but I'm switching it up a little. But yeah, then we get home, get ourselves together, and then I go off to see my baby. It's girlfriend time. I'm hanging out with Zoe. We are chilling. And then now we're moving into some food corner action. We go to CM Chicken for dinner on Friday night. And, it was good. I want to preface that it was good because I feel like I'm gonna like say all this shit and it's gonna not sound like it's good, but I do want to say I'm a CM Chicken enjoyer, or at least I would say I advocate people to go to CM Chicken if you like a good yummy chicken tender or just good yummy. I believe it's Korean. I believe it's Korean, like Korean fried food, but like Korean food in general. It's very good. It's very yummy. I'm pro it. But maybe my analysis here might not sound too great. But anyway, we order it on DoorDash. We go to pick it up. So I pick it up. And essentially the order was, I got the cheese monster, which I know that sounds very funny, but essentially it's chicken tenders, which by the way, you can order it tenders, wings, like bone in, or you can order a half or whole chicken, which I think is fucking cool. I love that. But I got the cheese monster, and then Zoe got the spicy garlic. And I had gotten the spicy garlic the first time. I can't remember. I'm almost certain that it would have overlapped with the podcast and I would have done a review on CM Chicken. I've talked about it. But like that was the first time I got that. And I would say that was really yummy, but there was a certain kind of FOMO, a certain kind of envy, because my homies got the cheese monster and I really like wanted it. And I think that's like kind of one of the staple like dishes from CM Chicken. So I ordered it this time, but I got it once again. This is a to-go situation. So we bring it home, and this is my first like kind of ick about it. They give me the cheese powder that you put on the cheese monster. So essentially I get regular tenders. I didn't know that this is how it worked when you did pickup. Like I've only eaten there once and I would sit down then. So I get my chicken tenders and I'm supposed to like put the cheese dust on them. So like that kind of takes it out a little bit. And I'm like, whatever. But I do know this is yummy. I've sampled this before. I know it's a yummy thing. I also got it with onions, and there's also like I think like a daikon, like pickled radish situation as well. So I got this cheese monster dust and I powdered it on. Also a bit of an L. They packed it a bit funky. So when I go to pull it out, half of it falls off and you just hear me audibly go, no! So sad. And but we rallied. We saved as much as we could. But they also, it comes with this cheese sauce. And the cheese sauce is actually pretty yummy. It's hard for me to describe it though, but it's like, it's giving cheese. It's giving cheese on cheese. It's giving cheeseception. It's good. So I powder it down, and I also powder as I go. I have enough to like make this all work. And then I'm dipping in. I also sample some of Zoe's spicy garlic. It's yummy. I also realized too that I was completely right. My instinct, my gut was so on. The spicy garlic is the best one. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you can fight me in the comments if you're a CM Chicken stan, defender, champion. You can tell me what the best order is. I will gladly hear you out. But the spicy garlic, it goes hard. I also think I should have gotten the spring onions and not regular onions. But that's just for other reasons, and yada yada yada. It's probably TMI if I say too much. But anyway, I got my onions, I got my cheese monster, I've sampled a little bit of spicy garlic. We also got the I'm gonna butcher this, but you know I'm so apt to do this. The tatabake. It's like the rice noodles, like the rice pasta thingy bobs. And I ordered the rosé version, which had like this fried stuff on it too. with some broccoli. So good, so yummy. Actually, kind of stole the show. Very tasty. I'm trying to think, was there anything else in the order? I don't believe so. Overall, it was good. I did enjoy it, but for me personally, I don't think after this I was like, I realized why my friends and I kind of just shifted to the hot pot trend right after CM Chicken. Like, this was really good. It was really yummy, but we just really didn't need to go back there. Like we have hot pot, and hot pot is so fucking good. So yeah, and just Korean barbecue situation, so that kind of became the new meta, and we kind of stuck with it, never looked back. But yeah, so CM Chicken, good, yummy. I would advise you, if you have a CM Chicken in your local area, check them out. They are good. They are tasty. Just, two is fine. And if I go again, by all means. But, nice to knock that out with the boo thing. We're chilling. Also throughout the weekend, it's just been a lot of Survivor. We're on our Survivor arc, and I love that for us. I feel like a kid again. Just watching reality shows and stuff. I know I always gush about this, but it makes me feel warm and fuzzy, and I enjoy doing that. So yeah, we go into Saturday. I'm trying to. My brain is okay. Food. What did we eat? For the food corner for Saturday, we had chicken adobo, which Zoe made. It was very yummy. It was giving like a Chipotle situation. We had some corn salsa. We had some house guac that she made. We had some chips. We had some tortillas. Had some rice, jasmine rice. Everything came together. Everything was yummy. I wind up having like thirds. I'm eating so much. So that was a treat. That was very tasty. That was very yummy. But also in between this, I had to cut away. I say had to, but it was a little boys' day. I played some Commander, little EDH, little Magic the Gathering for the nerds who know, the wizards who know. I did a little bit of the game day that we had planned, so it was nice to be able to cut away and do that. But dinner plans were the chicken adobo that I mentioned. That was very good. That was very yummy. And then Sunday, we got ourselves together around the afternoon, and did our classic Luckman's into Big Apple Bagel run. I got the same old Cincinnati mocha, which I'm just, I like it. It's a good little treat for me. I've definitely become an iced coffee guy now. I've really changed. I'm switching it up. Let's see. And then Big Apple Bagel, I got the lox with the cream cheese. The situation, it was a jalapeno cheddar cream cheese. And then we got a chocolate chip bagel with the chocolate chip cream cheese, which hit, as always. And then this time we also got a muffin. They have a whole array of muffins. We just haven't ventured onto that side. We just kind of looked and it's like, oh, that looks good. That looks yummy. Definitely, we're going to be getting muffins now into the rotation. This one was called, and I will say a little highfalutin with the name, but hey, I'll let them cook. It was yummy. They call it a deep dish apple pie. Okay, crazy with them names, Ted. Very good, though. It definitely was giving apple pie throughout, and I enjoyed it. Also had like this little lattice work of like icing on top, which was good. And so, yeah, that was like the food corner. Sorry, I know I had a little bit of a lag out there, trying to remember everything in the weekend. And I'm working on AOL up here in my noggin. But yes, overall, a really great weekend. I'm saying that on the food corner end. I did have another gym session in which we did cable work. And longtime listeners know that I'm not a big cable guy. I'm kind of anti-cable. Not to say that I'm yucking anyone's yum. I just don't like it for me. And I still feel this way. I don't think today really changed that. But I did a bit of bicep and tricep work with the cables. I also did a little bit of chest pulls, I'm sure I'm not getting the names right with these things, but whatever, you know what I mean. It was nice. I think it's one of those things where the gym is empty. If I'm not really trying to go crazy, but I do want to get a good pump, because I will say the arms were like, I was at the Kroger after like, ooh, I'm feeling it still. So, I think it's worth it but it's just still not the thing for me. I still would rather do barbell and dumbbell work. I still prefer machines over cables. I just think it's just more efficient in the sense of like, hey, I don't have to wait for a bunch of people to do this. I also don't know what leg work you can do on cables. Am I stupid? Am I dumb? Am I just missing it? Because I just don't feel like there's much leg work to be done there with cables, and I think that's kind of a bit of a thing that I can just get from dumbbells and also barbell. So I don't know. That's just how I feel. That's just how I'm rocking. But still, really good gym session. Also got in about 20 minutes of cardio on the stairs, so that's good. And we got the core work in. So yeah, good Sunday gym set. Sesh, whatever. Okay, so yeah, that is my weekend. That's been my weekend. It's been a delight. It's been a treat. I've really enjoyed myself. I would say one thorn. I did get into crazy traffic, and I don't know what the scenario was. Hopefully everyone was fine. But there was like this, I think a semi or something hit like this fucking Elantra, and that shit did not look good when I saw that. But yeah, hopefully everyone was fine there. But yeah, there was a lot of traffic there, and that was a bit of a bummer. But yeah, like once again, hopefully everyone was okay. But anyway, let's go ahead and do our startup, and let's get into some news. Oh boy, oh boy. Ooh. All right. From Reuters. Israeli strikes kill 8 people in Gaza, medics say. Oops, sorry, I got a little bit of technical difficulties here. All right. Israeli strikes killed at least 8 Palestinians in the Gaza Strip on Sunday, health officials said, as ceasefire efforts meant to end fighting between Israel and the Hamas militant group falter. In the weeks since halting its joint bombing with the U.S. and Iran, Israel has stepped up its attacks in Gaza, where Hamas has been tightening its grip, even as Israeli troops remain in control of more than half of the territory. Also, we've talked about this a bit, but I'm even still, there's been more outside of me just talking on the podcast in terms of like death toll and things like that. Israeli strikes in activity in Lebanon. So essentially they've said, hey, if we got to pull out of Iran, okay, fine. If we're not going to be active there, well, we have shit that's closer to home that we're going to do. We're going to, push our essentially genocidal activities there. Medics said an Israeli strike killed 1 Palestinian near a police post and another at a tent encampment in Han Yunis in the southern Gaza Strip. The Israeli military said it killed a militant who posed an immediate threat to forces in the area. Separately, Gaza medics said another Israeli strike killed at least 3 people at a community kitchen in Alaska Hospital in Deir al-Bala in the central Gaza area. The Israeli military said the strike targeted a Hamas commander developing anti-tank missiles. Gaza medical officials said 3 more Palestinians were killed, 1 in a shooting incident in Han Yunis in the southern Gaza Strip, and 2 others in an Israeli airstrike near a bakery in Deir al-Bala in central Gaza. On Saturday, the Israeli military said Izzeldin al-Haddad, the head of Hamas's armed wing in Gaza, was killed in what it described as a precise strike on Gaza City on Friday. Hamas confirmed Haddad's death, but stopped short of threatening revenge. The Israeli military said it also killed Baha Baroud, a Hamas operations headquarters commander, in an airstrike on Saturday, accusing him of planning multiple imminent attacks against troops and Israeli civilians in recent weeks. The military said Baroud posed an immediate threat and was targeted in a precise strike, adding measures were taken beforehand to reduce civilian harm, including the use of precision munitions and aerial surveillance. Gaza health officials said Baroud, along with another person, was killed in the airstrike, which targeted their car in Gaza City. Israel and Hamas remain deadlocked in indirect talks to advance U.S. President Donald Trump's post-war plan for Gaza that is meant to end more than 2 years of fighting, with Hamas disarming and Israeli troops withdraw from Gaza. Essentially, this is still holding by the same threadbare strands. They're like, well, as long as Hamas is not going to disarm, which is like, what are you saying? You're going to reduce every person who you're deeming a Hamas militant down to maybe a pistol in a situation where you are also dealing with civil war conflicts, and you're still having to deal with an Israeli occupation. Let's just be fucking frank and real about it, because it's not like they're disappearing and they know that. And they're saying, yeah, that's what we want. And until you do that, we're going to keep killing you guys. With these precision strikes, of course. And then we're also going to do some double taps and things of that nature, and yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. It's also worth noting, too, I say Lebanon, I say Gaza, but it's also the West Bank, too. Because if it's not killing people or, actively allowing settlers to do it, it is actively allowing settlers to take land, which is also a thing that is still happening, which Israel is allowing, which the U.S. is allowing. At the worst, we are saying, hey, we're going to look into this and maybe we're going to give you some sanctions. Maybe we're going to get really specific on these settlers or whatever, They won't be able to conduct any business in America. No sirree, Bob. These are slaps on the wrist at best, while these people are literally harassing people, killing people, beating people to fucking death, into their life, forcing them off their land, squatting on it, and then taking it, owning it, whatever. So, this is just ongoing shit. It has been a nonstop thing. And it's just now we have changed it to being like, hey, we got these ceasefire and it's holding. And isn't that such a good thing? But it's like every day you're killing people all the time. People are dying. People are being violated. So it is a frustrating thing to know that is an ongoing backbeat. And once again, my tax dollars, do go to support that kind of shit, to enable that kind of shit. And that sucks. It's fucking PU fucking stinky. But the least I can do is fucking talk about it and, call it what it is. But anyway, let's see. Let's move on to our next story. Also, too, I should probably give more credence to the fact that they there's one of the guys who mentioned, I know I've scrolled past it, who is a leader. They say, hey, this guy was a part of, here we go. I think it is the Al-Adin al-Adad. I might be getting that wrong, but essentially I think that they were saying he was one of the architects of October 7th, which is a thing that I've mentioned before. They like to invoke saying, hey, this is the reason why we're doing all of this shit. It's like, this is the reason you're hitting all these people, like all these areas, all these regions. It's like you have like a fucking 7-front war. Oh, okay, sure, all right. But yeah, essentially they're saying, hey, this is a big get for us. And it's like, man, I was literally driving, listening to this. I'm like, how many times are we going to invoke, hey, we killed that architect, so this is going to justify not just killing this guy, but also killing and blowing up around all these other people who are completely innocent, have nothing to do with it, have nothing to do with October 7th, who are just trying to live their fucking life day to day, just trying to fucking survive in situations that are beyond squalor, by the way. Yeah, we aren't rolling out the famine word as much these days, but people are living in a situation where they're being bitten by pheasants, rats. Like, there's no recourse. You are living in an open air fucking like tent situation. I'm being very like nice about this, as nice and quaint as I can about it. So the situation's fucked. The situation's bad. I know we haven't talked about Gaza specifically in a while. I guess that's why I kind of want to linger on it a little bit and talk about it a little bit more, because I know it's probably not going to get as much headlines right now, because I know we got to go back to the Iran war front situation, which is like, okay, yeah, once again, another ongoing infinite ceasefire that Donald Trump says, they better wise up and do what I say, or else we're gonna do a war crime. Oh man. So yeah, let's just move on, I guess. Let's mosey. Let's talk about other things. There's other news from The Independent. Let me take a water break. Really got to keep reminding myself to drink more water. And not just when I'm yapping about fucking bullshit. Just in general. Anyway. 2 military jets collide and crash during Idaho air show. in dramatic scene above spectators. Idaho Air Show. I know, I like saying that. Two military jets collided during an air show at an Air Force base in Idaho on Sunday, prompting their pilots to eject as their planes fell to the ground and crashed in a fiery explosion. Emergency responders are on the scene. The Mountain Home Air Force Base's 366 Fighter Wing wrote on Facebook. An investigation is underway and more details will be released as they become available. Excuse me. All four of the air crew successfully ejected, and they are being evaluated by medical personnel. Commander Amelia Umayam, a spokesperson for Naval Air Force's U.S. Pacific Fleet, told The Independent in a statement. First responders are on the scene. The crash involved two U.S. Navy EA-18G aircraft assigned to the Electronic Aircraft Squadron, or VAC, VAQ, 129, from Whidbey Island, Washington, the official said. The incident is under investigation. The video of the crash shows two gray jets tangling midair, then parachutes opening as their pilots eject. The jets then fall to the ground and explode upon impact. The air show is canceled, according to the Mountain Home Police Department. Please do not travel or attempt to access Mountain Home Air Force Base as a spectator, as the event will no longer be taking place, the department wrote in a post on Facebook. So yeah, pretty scary. Definitely like, oh wow. But hey, I'm mostly saying it this way just because there was no casualties. Happy to see that at least it's like, hey, yes, a lot of money was, you could say, was wasted, and I guess in a military sense, taxpayer dollars were wasted. But hey, I get it. Everyone likes a cool air show. Me at like 5+ years old, you tell me we're going to an air show, I'm like, yeah, cool, that's dope, awesome, Blue Angels. I don't think I've ever seen the Blue Angels live, but like, I like planes, planes, trains, automobiles, boys love that shit, guys love that shit. I think everyone can like that shit, right? I don't know. When you have a sense of childlike wonder and whimsy, these things are dope. But obviously unfortunate when you have like boom, and then but like, luckily no one died. I like covering a situation where nobody dies, and once again, it's just like, hey, we lose a couple of Navy aircrafts. I'm sure we'll make plenty more. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on from NPR, whatever. World Health Organization declares Ebola outbreak in Congo a global health emergency. The World Health Organization declared a new Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic. GG's. I'm calling it. No, the World Health Organization declared a new Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo and Uganda to be a public health emergency of international concern on Sunday. However, WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus stressed in a statement it does not meet the criteria of pandemic emergency and advised countries against closing their borders. I do think it's really important to highlight that this isn't like pandemic levels. Obviously, we've just recently been talking about hantavirus. That's still an ongoing thing. I'm sure we'll probably have some kind of updates in the upcoming future, or maybe not. We'll see. News does be flowing, and I miss some shit. But anyway, this is another a reminder about, damn, Ebola is still a fucking thing. You still got to deal with that. Is that going to be something that takes us out? I don't think that. But that being said, still worth talking about because it is hitting an outbreak level status. The outbreak was first reported in the DRC's eastern Ituri province on Friday, and there are already hundreds of suspected cases, including one that crossed the border into Uganda. The latest strain of the virus has no vaccine either, according to the Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or Africa CDC. I'd also say, too, that's maybe another aspect of this that I kind of wanted to talk about, because once again, not maybe the first time we've even talked about Ebola on this podcast, but different flavor potentially. So it's worth, digging into that a little bit. Ebola is transmitted through blood and other bodily fluid, as well as contaminated surfaces. Symptoms include fever, body pain, weakness, vomiting, and in some cases, bleeding, according to the WHO. Okay, another random aside. Do you ever? This is I guess maybe personal anecdote, whatever. But being a kid, I'd watch a lot of like, I don't know, stuff either on Nat Geo or like History Channel or whatever, and like they'd have like shows like not maybe like documentary. I'm fucking up exactly what this would be called genre wise, but like what if there was like a virus outbreak of this or that, and like they had an episode of Ebola, and they like ran through a scenario of like a guy maybe working at like a military facility, and like he becomes like a patient zero for an Ebola outbreak in a major military facility. I'm like, oh my god! I just remember being glued to the screen, and like my anxiety was on 10. I was like, oh my god, this would be so scary if it fucking happened. But this is a thing that does happen sometimes. But yeah. So you know, I'm kind of drawn to these things, and I'm sure I'm not the only person in the world who like has these kind of fears. Why else would they make these kind of shows and narrate them that kind of way? So yeah, I think there's always a bit of a fascination to this, and the fear of like, well, maybe this is a thing, but it is a thing where we do have the protocols and the means to like really get on it and isolate these kind of things. So that's good. A little bit of thumbs up there that I do once again think that this isn't going to be like a major pandemic thing, not ringing the alarm. But health officials believe the outbreak started in late April. Dr. Jean Kaseya, Director General of Africa CDC, said during a Saturday press conference conducted by video call. Cases have mostly been detected in two mining towns in the DRC called Mangbiwalu and Rarapara, where people come and go for work. We are talking about a region that is very vulnerable and a fragile region, said Kaseya. So far, there are 10 confirmed cases, 336 suspected cases, including 88 deaths in the DRC and 2 confirmed cases, including 1 death in neighboring Uganda, according to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, which is supporting the local response. CDC said that the risks to the American public are low, which is a very selfish thing, I feel like, to think, especially like living in the U.S., living in the Western hegemon. Once again, this is something that's like, yeah, we don't really think about. But if you are in these regions and you have had to deal with this like multiple times, I think there's been at least like 17 outbreaks. I think I looked when I, just kind of did a quick survey or perusal. Like, this is a thing that then comes up and it's like, oh my God, this ratchets attention for us. Like, so much higher until we can get this shit suppressed and then down, and it's never completely eliminated. And then you're dealing with new strains. You're on the forefront of dealing with new strains and no vaccines. That's very scary. It's very concerning. So thus, once again, makes it something I do want to try to highlight, do want to talk about. The CDC is urgently coordinating with our, I'm totally going to fuck this word up, intra-agency partners to ensure the outbreak is managed and prevent further spread of Ebola, said Dr. Satish K. Pillai, the CDC's Ebola response incident manager, at a press conference Sunday. He said there are currently over 30 CDC staff members in the DRC country office, and more workers will be deployed in the next few days. Let's see. Africa CDC is leading the regional response intended to reduce the risk of the disease spreading to more countries. In his remarks Saturday, Africa CDC Kaseya discussed the challenges, describing a 59-year-old Congolese man who died from the virus in Kampala, the capital of Uganda. He outlined how many people the man was likely in contact with before his death and the importance of using protective equipment. He goes through the whole thing in like this quote, and it really just says like, hey, it's like even down to the point where he dies and his body is being moved out of the hospital. This man is potentially a viral incident waiting to happen. And if you don't have proper PPE, like that's a whole thing. But also it's like there's so many points of potential contact for this virus to move and spread to. And it's like, that's what we're dealing with here. That's the scope. That's the level. And it really does paint a grim picture when you look at it that way. But I think it's just more to state the severity of it. And just the pretense to be like, hey, don't put this on the back burner. Don't just say this is a nothing burger. Like, this is something we do got to keep dealing with, especially with the fact that it's like, hey, if we're dealing with a new strain here that doesn't have a vaccine, we got to come up with something like that. There are also no approved vaccine or treatments for this strain of Ebola. However, researchers say there is now a candidate for an experimental vaccine that they are continuing to study. We know it was only tested on some monkeys, said Cassia, who explained it has so far shown the efficacy rate of around 50%, but its potential in human patients has not yet been assessed. So that doesn't feel good to hear. I don't like those numbers, but I'm not good at math. But hopefully get those numbers up, and hopefully we can get it to a point where it's safer and less experimental to try on humans, maybe. Question mark. I don't know. So yeah, I felt like it was like once again worth talking about this. I was like once again looking through the news, and I had heard about this throughout the week, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, we'll take some time to talk about Ebola. We did take the time for hantavirus, so let's talk about Ebola as well. Also, I heard too that the doctor, kind of shifting to the hantavirus thing real quick before we go to our last story for the day. The doctor who was on the ship, the MV Hondius or whatever, he really stepped up to the plate. There was like another doctor who had gotten ill. This doctor stepped up. He's treating all the patients. He's running down. He's doing it. He's running his shit down mid. He's doing he's in the trenches. He also gets some of the symptoms, I believe. And so I think he's also in Nebraska, the hospital there, being treated, if I'm not mistaken. I'm kind of pulling this from my brain a little bit there, a little freestyle. But yeah, I mean, damn. Kudos to that guy, because that takes a lot of fucking bravery. Saying, "Hey, I'm a doctor. I know I got to do this shit. I'm gonna step into the plate and I'm gonna do it." Both of the doctors. So yeah, hopefully, everyone involved, does recover. Hopefully. But yeah, let's go ahead and do our last break, and we'll go ahead and close out on a bit of a China recap. I talked about it towards the top of the week in terms of Trump meeting with Xi in China. It was a big deal, so I kind of wanted to maybe talk a little highlights there and close it out. But, last break time. All right. From NPR. Key takeaways from Trump's China trip. After wrapping up his two-day visit to China, President Trump called the trip incredible. But while it was big on pageantry, it fell short on concrete agreements. Now, I feel like that's part of the course every time. I think when it was in 2017, or like anytime he kind of like meets with Xi, has these kind of talks, has these kind of powwows. Essentially, it is just, hey, look at the business that got done today, or got done from this trip, got done from this summit, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. And this seems to be what he is doing again, which is, it's empty. Like, because you're saying all these deals are getting inked out and they're real as hell, trust me. But like, in the past, they weren't. They were very vague. They were very amorphous, and like it didn't really seem like it actually helped anyone in America. It didn't even seem like we really got anything done, really. It seems like that again. But I mean, hey, the vibes seem really cool. He called him his friend, which I think is very cute. Like, I mean, what a bromance. Like, but hey, this lines up with the idea that Trump likes powerful guys. He likes powerful guys who get to do what the fuck they want, because he feels like he's the top guy who gets to do what he wants. If only these damn radical Democrats didn't get in his goddamn way. It's like, brother, I think what you hate is the thing that got you elected. I think you hate democracy. But like, whatever. Hey, do your thing. I get it. But every time, if he's with Putin, he's having a good time. If he's with Xi, he's having a good time. If he's chilling with some fucking, like, dudes in the Middle East with the juice. A sheik or two. He's got a Saudi prince on his arm, bro. He's having a great time. I will always reference him touching the orb. Iconic. But yeah, does much get done out of this? No, not really for the American people. Not really. But I will say a highlight. Beans and Boeing. So essentially soybeans. That's like a big product that is something that China wants and we sell. But arguably, like, China knows that they're getting like a raw end of a deal there in terms of like the price on it. And it's like, yeah, but you want our good soybeans, right? And it's like, yeah, but we could also like go to Brazil if you're China. And I think that that's like kind of a move that I think that they're pursuing. But that being said, they're like, hey, let's talk beans. Let's talk soybeans. Let's like come to a deal on that. Let's make some moves. And then also Boeing. Trump announced China had agreed to order 200 jets before equivocating. I think it was a commitment. I mean, it was sort of like a statement, but I think it was a commitment. Trump added, it's a great thing. It's a lot of jobs. Like, it's just very vague. It's like, yeah. So we got some Boeing in there, they were at the table, they were hanging out. Also, I heard Elon Musk, he was chilling in China. He was having a little good old time in the meetings, hanging out, whatever. I think another thing that they don't mention here, beef was also on the menu. Apparently, they like buying a lot of beef from us. But once again, I do think that's another export that, like, if China really wanted to, if they really had to, if it came to it, they could get that from somewhere else. They're probably getting it from somewhere else. They have the fucking means. But that being said, I do think the pageantry is kind of cute. It's kind of fun. It's a vibe in the sense of seeing like, hey, this is the number one, number two. And like, in a way, despite all the bickering and blah, blah, Trump playing all the fucking fast and loose with the tariffs, kind of getting punked out, whatever, they can't have these moments. And it's like, oh, they can get along. Maybe this is not so fucking serious. But that being said, something serious on the docket, the other part. Granted, there's also the Iran thing, but they really didn't get anything sorted there. I think China really doesn't want to get involved, even though they are involved. Like, they get oil from Iran. The Strait is a fucking issue. They want the shit wrapped up, but they also do not want to actually, like, get dragged into this. No country does. They're like, no, this is a U.S., this is an Israel problem. You handle it. oh, we're on the hook. Oh, we will find a way to get oil. We have enough to reserve. We're fine. Like, I really don't think that's as much of an issue, but it is something that obviously it's like there's a point of intrigue, so it gets talked about. But Taiwan, that is important. China did bring up what it considers a red line. China, a self-governing island, Beijing claims as its own territory. In a Chinese statement on the visit, Xi stressed that if the Taiwan question is mishandled by America, it could put the stability of China-U.S. relations in jeopardy. The U.S. readout did not mention Taiwan, which I think is very funny to be like, yeah, it just really wasn't worth mentioning in the transcripts. Like, what the fuck? Like, okay, clearly it was worth mentioning to China. But Secretary of State Marco Rubio, avid China hawk, said in an interview with NBC that U.S. policy on Taiwan remained unchanged. It also said it would be a terrible mistake for China to take Taiwan by force. Trump said Xi asked during his trip if the U.S. would defend Taiwan. I said, I don't talk about that, he told reporters aboard Air Force One on his way back to the U.S. So essentially, he hit the negate button. He went deaf. He went mute. Essentially just saying nothing, nada, zilch. I think China really wanted him to kind of say, like, hey, just, like, change some tensing, change some wording to, like, make sure that hey, we're China. We're the number one. We're numero fucking uno. And, like, China or Taiwan is, like, a part of our shit. Like, kind of. Or, like, whatever. Just don't call them independent. And Trump's like, no, I'm not saying anything on that. Which, arguably very tactful, very smart. Presidents of will continue. I think that's just the modus operandi. Either you're like, gun-ho, we will defend China. Or Taiwan, we will defend. We'll give them guns. We'll give them everything. We'll stand with them. Or it's like kind of this vague kind of like, yeah, they're there. We're getting chips from them. Let's worry about that, okay? Let's worry about the chips, the Intel chip. We need those. That's important. Taiwan's gonna be fine. So there's that whole thing, and then Iran war is mentioned, but once again, I don't think that China's really pushing too hard on the scale there. I think that they're just like, yeah, get to the table, work this out. We want this trade open, so like make a deal. But essentially, if there's really no deal to be made that Iran can really say yes to, then it's just going to keep going, and I don't think China's going to like really supersede there. Let's see here. Is there anything else I really wanted to pull from this? Oh, he did get to see some cool like spots. I'm not gonna even bother butchering the actual pronunciation of said spots, but like he got to ooh and ah like these special gardens. I think there was like one spot he's like I think Xi tells him like, hey, like only like not too many leaders come here these days. This is very rare. And he goes like, oh, so I'm like the only one. He's like, no, I think he said something like, yes. He's like, just like you, and then like Putin. I was like, oh, okay. So yeah, you're in rare company, of course, which that was nice. Also, I believe Putin is going to be coming soon. I think in like a week or so, he's going to be making his visit to China. So that's very nice. You got one great leader there, another great leader there, I guess. I feel like you got to say that, just by definition. I'm not giving props to Putin. Anyway, nor am I giving props to fucking Donald J. Trump. I would not actually call him a great leader either. But yeah, that's it. You're getting the Isaiah's way here. It's late. It's a Sunday night. I'm tired. I've kind of blah, blah, blah. I gotta. I lagged out, That's a classico episode. We're so back. So yeah, that's it. No shilling on Sunday. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.